Welcome for this class about care, and I think the first thing I want to talk about is that as a startup, you need to scale the care. And I think that's one of the most important idea behind that, is that, of course, it's kind of very easy to care at the beginning, but as your startup grow, it's harder and harder to keep it on that. So let's talk about why it's so important. It's so important because it's one of the easy way to have an unfair advantage with the market. Like, if you look at your experience with telco companies, or your experience with the banks, or your experience with a real estate agent, or your experience with anyone doing any traditional big things, you know that very often it doesn't go well. Why? Because they are so big that they don't care about any individual client. And that created a culture in corporate world where clients are this kind of liabilities that we manage in mass, and we don't really care about every single client. And in Europe, we have a second problem about that, is that at least in United States, the customer service tradition is very high. Like if you go in a bar or restaurant, maybe because, you know, bad spirits say they are like that because they are paid by tips. But the truth is that you can give tips to a French guy, you will stay not nice. So it's not so much about the money, it's much more about kind of a national training we all have, and national culture about how we live the service part of our job. And there is something strange in Europe, is that service care equal luxury. Like if you think about high level of services, high level of care, you think luxury. Like if you go in the best hotels around Europe, the service are really great. They are not like some kind of bad service, no, because the emphasis of any luxury service is to provide care as part of the business model. But as a startup, one of your chances is that at the beginning, you don't have so many customers. And I know like that's what can be depressing about a startup, but it's also a chance because you can do things that no one can else do. And people care about that. You will see there is a lot of joke around the... So why people care? People care because they want the feeling that there is real human behind the website. They want the feeling that they can know who is doing that. They want the feeling to be close to the company they use and the product they use. And we have so many good stories inside the family about that with our great startups. For example, one of my favorite one is Each. You know, it's a car service that is open during night. It's a Uber Pop competitor. Uber Pop is dead. Each is alive. Take that, Uber. And Each founders took Each for every way around the city every day for years. And they was organizing parties. And after the parties, when people was drunk, they was saying, you should not take a taxi or anything else. You should take a Each. I order one for you. It's here. And people kept that feeling and that relationship with them, and they became that kind of mythical inside their community. And so mythical that now when they take Each and people ask them, who are you and what do you do? They say, I'm the founder of Each. And people don't believe them. They're like, yeah, and me, I'm the Pope. Like the founder of Each are not humans. Like they are these special people that are so nice that cannot be you. It's deceptive if it's you. And actually, it's them. And how they created that by being very, very close to their user all time long. And caring is one of the easiest way to look special. Because if your product is not at the level, if your startup is not ready yet, being in the care attitude, in the extreme care attitude, will make you so special that it will be a reason to speak about you. And let's talk about something very important around that, is everybody that will be disappointed by what you are doing. And all these people have one characteristic, is that they are people that you can turn around in your favor. Like, more someone hates you, more someone is frustrated, more someone is in this attitude and mindset that what you are doing is not right and what you are doing is not at level. You should be in situation where you can use the care to change their mind. And using the care can be about small things, it can be about having a direct relationship, it can be about having a great customer support, it can be about everything you can do to make them feel better. And that has a very magical effect on people, is that people always remember that. Because think about your experience. Every time you was in a situation where you had think that something was not right or a product was not good, and let's say the CEO contact you in person, apologize, and try to figure out a problem for you. Like, who will not remember that? Everybody remember that. And that people that was haters become super fans. And they become the kind of people that will evangelize the product. And it can seem a very, very basic idea, but the care attitude is what can save a startup at beginning. And we like to repeat at the family, care or die. It's kind of a mantra we tell all our startup. You care about your customer at a level that they don't deserve, or you will die because you will never create any feeling inside your community that makes them feel they are special and make them feel that they need to fight for you. And I think that's what is necessary here, is that you need to create processes and you need to create an environment where the caring is key and center to everything you do. And you don't imagine how it's important at every level of your company, because caring is not just an attitude towards your users, but it's also an attitude towards every person inside your community. Employees, investors, partners, suppliers. If you can create that feeling that everyone is inside your community, that everyone will be on the same page and everyone really care about each other, you can create that kind of positiveness that brings something from being totally a no to something that everyone talk about, even if it's not ready. And I think that's one of the lessons that is really hard to take as an entrepreneur, is that very often we think as entrepreneurs that the way to succeed is to make perfect things. You know, like, there is so many people that think that their job is to do something perfect, and when it's perfect, they show it to the world, and the world recognizes perfection. So, look around you. Why nothing is perfect? Because first, everything that is perfect is on the hard drive of entrepreneurs that never launch. So we don't know their product, because they are so perfect that they never launch. And also, being perfect and having the idea that you can create something perfect is a kind of human God complex. Because nothing is perfect, nothing works well. There is always mistake. If you look just nature around us, it's just kind of a big mistake. And everything lives and grew as mistake. Mistakes are, you know, part of our DNA. For example, if you look at how DNA replicates, DNA do a random mistake every 10,000 transcription. So you see, even your DNA is not perfect, and you have mutation that happens every 10,000 transcription. So having the feeling that you can build something perfect, that you can do a product that will be so perfect by itself, it will care to the user, you will be wrong. But on the other side, if you understand that caring is something external to the product, it's something that is as important as any feature that you have inside your product, you will be in a position where you can have the three characteristics of a good entrepreneur. And what they are: you can be personal, you can be sincere, and you can be authentic. And that kind of trio is a winning way to be successful. Because it's not about doing something that will be perfect, it's doing something that for a small group of users, it will be ideal. And I think that's a huge difference between being perfect and being ideal, is that you cannot be perfect for everyone, but you can have a small set of users and a smaller community for whom you are the solution they are waiting for. And everything that makes you imperfect are actually good news because they are part of the game. And so instead of looking for impossible achievement, you should look at how you can make your community vibrate in same time than you, and how you can grow in same time than your community, and see that as a kind of a dynamic process. Because you do things, your community will react, sometimes they will like, sometimes they will hate, and from all this information, you will be little bit by little bit better and bigger. But you need to understand the time that that process takes, and this is why at beginning, and as long as possible, you need to be available. I don't know how to say that fucking word. So, it's right in there. Fuck it. So, you need to be ready. You need to be fast in your communication. You need to be ready to reply at any time. And also, please, you need, again, to be personal. You know how I recognize the worst startup on earth? One of the tests I love to do is to write to the customer service and to see how people reply. So many startups reply in the conventional corporate way. So you will send them a message saying, dude, I don't know what feature is doing A or B. And they will reply, thank you, sir. We really appreciate your message here at acme.inc. So, about your feature and blah, blah, blah. And it will not be in the tone where I wrote to them. And so I will not feel close. I will not feel connected. One of the first rules of customer service doing right is that you should always reply in the tone that people write to you. For example, a company that is so good at that, and if one day you are bored and you want to try, go on Amazon.com customer service and try to talk in funny way, and you will see how they reply. There is even a Tumblr about that. It's called Crazy Way of Talking to Amazon. And someone doing screenshot of his crazy conversation with Amazon, like, hi, I'm Thor, king of the Asgard, and my order did not come. And the guy replied, thanks you, great lord. I will check with the sub-gods very fast for you. And they got a training that is about always replying in a style that people write to you. If someone writes to you formal, one of the ways to be personal is to be formal because it's a reply to someone that thinks it's formal. So if someone asks you in a very formal way something and you say, dude, I don't know, but let me check out, it will not work. But if someone talks to you in an informal way and reply formally, it's even worse. So be very authentic, be very personal, and try to understand that every customer talking to you is a potential friend. You should see it that way. And one of the biggest problems with entrepreneurs is that they are not committed. And not committed in the sense that they will delegate things that they should not delegate, and customer support and customer relationship is on the first top of the list. So, few advice. If you want to be a good company, first thing, everyone should receive every customer support email. Like support@yourcompany.com should go in the mailbox of everyone. And everyone should read every email until the time where it's not possible to do. But if it takes less than an hour a day, it will be a well-invested hour, and no one has a job where he cannot spend 1 hour a day to be connected with clients. And that in every department, especially engineers, by the way. If you want to change the DNA of your company, connect the engineers to the customer support. Because it will change the perspective about the product. It will change the perspective about the fact that their job is to do something that some real people use. You know, sometimes engineers forget that there is real people outside, and it's one way to connect them with that. But it's also true for the top level founders, because you need to set the tone. You need to build that culture that caring about customer is very important. I will tell you a story that really shocked me, and it's one of the stories that, you know, you live and you say, oh my God, I'm so happy to do work in this kind of company. So do you remember when a big volcano in Iceland was exploding and half of the plane in the world was cancelled? Okay, I was in airport that day. I was in Paris Charles de Gaulle with my girlfriend at that time, and I was bringing her to the counter, and there was so much people waiting in line just to register. So I do what I do best in that kind of case. I hack the system. So I went to first class counter, and I told them that I want to upgrade my girlfriend in first class. And they look at it and they say, oh my God, it's not possible, the plane is full. I say, oh, it's full, okay, no problem, register. And they register her in economy, where she had a ticket in economy, because she will not look at me after telling me that there is no place in first class and not taking her bag. And in my mind, I was like, God, please, God, no first class ticket, no first class ticket. And she took the bag, she went in the plane, and she sent me a text message telling me the plane is leaving and the plane is empty. And I was like, what the fuck? Why is the plane is empty? Because everyone was at the security waiting to do the checking. And because the plane cannot wait forever, every people late, every people missed the plane and went to the second plane. And I was on my way out, and I saw the CEO of Air France with every top people looking at that, like that, and talking together about what is failing. And it was surreal. I even took a picture. It was so surreal of all these top executives yelling on small level people about the fact that millions of people are missing the flight. And the guy was saying, oh my God, I don't know, what can we do? We should change our process. Yeah, let's do a strategic plan about that. And I was like, this is kidding. If I was a CEO of Air France, I would take every single employee in the office. I will go down in the airport. I will put a blue shirt on everyone, including myself as a CEO. And I will personally put everyone in the plane. Not having every desk closed. That's the difference between a startup and a big corporation. Big corporations are so disconnected from real people that they can go and be like they are in the zoo. Oh my God, our users are unhappy. Yeah, what can we do? I don't know, let's have a lunch. Like, it's surreal how much these companies are failing. And the people that experience that kind of moment hate that kind of company forever. If you look at what are the top 10 companies that people hate, you always have the same usual suspect. Why? Because they are big and they don't care about their client. And that's why for startup, this is an opportunity. And if you are committed, you are also generous. One of my favorite books have been written by the head of customer support at Amazon to explain the first 1,000 days at Amazon. And in the first chapter, she explained a first week at Amazon. So when she arrived at Amazon, they told her, oh, you are the new head of logistics? Welcome. There is all this box that need to be put in our supply chain, and we don't know how to manage that. So she took the box, and she took a worker and said, oh, put it on the top of the shelf, please. And the guy put all the box on top of the shelf. And a week after, they started to see delay in the delivery, because at the top of the shelf, every delivery was taking 10 minutes more. And 10 minutes more multiplied by 1,000 of delivery a day for a product that goes very often, it can mess up with your daily goal. And so a product that should be delivered on Tuesday will be delivered on Wednesday, and the one on the Wednesday become on Friday, and the one on Friday become on next week. Like, you don't imagine that logistics is like that, but when you have so big volume, a small mistake like put it on top of shelf instead of putting it down on the shelf, depending on the kind of product, can be an horrible decision. So what did she do? She did a spreadsheet, and she tried to calculate how much delay they should put in customers to don't lose money on delivery. And she shows the spreadsheet to Jeff Bezos, and Jeff Bezos say, "What's wrong with you? Like, do you want to be fired? Like, I told you that is customer first. So whatever the cost will be, you will go and take contractors in downtown, bring them, and take every box down. And whatever the price is, we are fine, we pay for it. Because our customer will not wait a single day." And so what she did, she went, hired 50 contractors, they come all day long, and they spend all their time taking the box from top shelf to down shelf. You imagine like this kind of decision, it means that on this single line of product, they lose something like $100,000. And why they did that? They did that because they don't want that any customer experience an experience with Amazon that will look like any other company. And if there is a company that is kind of a model and an ideal in terms of customer support, it will be Amazon. Because Amazon scaled that to 80 billion revenue. And everything they do is always with this idea that it's customer first. And if it's customer first, we have to think about how to make customer happy. So being generous can seem like, you know, unprofessional, but on the long term, it's the best marketing expense you can do. So don't be silly at beginning. Be very generous. Never look at your early stage cost. And whatever it costs to have a client that is happy forever, do it. What does it mean? What does it mean, all of that, in the different step of the process of your startup? So first, on acquisition. How do you do to have this kind of contradiction solved between scaling the acquisition and scaling the care? You know, we are the first people that will encourage you to growth hack, to spam, to go after whatever you can do to achieve a sale. And you should be violent. If you want to survive as an entrepreneur, you should be very, very violent. But being violent doesn't mean to be a jerk. Being very aggressive in your sales doesn't mean that you need to be mean. You can do that with respect. So I know it can seem confusing, and I know that for a lot of people, being aggressive and respectful in the same time can seem at best a joke. But actually it's serious. So what does it mean? It means that you remember that it's better to ask forgiveness instead of permission. But when we say that to people, I love that sentence because it happened a lot with our employees at the family. You know, we always tell them, ask forgiveness, not permission. And so they do something wrong and we yell at them. And they say, I don't get it. You tell me to don't ask permission. Say, yeah, I told you to ask forgiveness. So in the process of forgiveness, yelling is part of it. It's not because you have the freedom to do whatever you want, that when you do something that is wrong, you will be like celebrate for doing something wrong. That's bullshit. Like celebrating mistakes is bullshit. But it just means that it doesn't matter. It's not because someone yelled that it matters. Same thing with your client. Be aggressive. Send emails that are unsolicited, for example, but send good emails. And if someone complains, just apologize. And apologize with sincerity. And do whatever people want so it doesn't bring you to a step that is like that is not good. So, for example, what is a good way to send unsolicited email? The good way to do that is that emails should be sent by someone personal, someone that exists, and someone that people can recognize. Like, I hate when startup send email with no reply at their company.com. Like, do they really think we are still in 1995 and we don't have mail servers that can handle more than 50 messages? Like, you know where it comes from, the no reply. Because there is a time in history of internet where you were sending 5,000 emails, for example, to a client. And if 5,000 clients reply, it was more than what your mail servers can host. So you will tell them you cannot reply to that email. Please take your phone and call us. So now technology grew up and we can receive a lot of email and you should reply personally. Like for example, at the beginning of the family, we were spamming a lot for a lot of things. and people was, of course, complaining. And I was always replying personally, and I have such a beautiful collection of conversations that look like that. Oh, motherfucker spammers! I hate you. Sorry, sir, I'm not a spammer. I'm a real human, and I have feeling. And I'm hurt that you are hurt. And at that moment, people crunch. Oh, sorry, I didn't know. No, it's fine, no worry. But please take my email out. Yeah, sure. Oh, by the way, what do you do? We are doing. Oh, yeah, it seemed interesting. Okay, don't send me emails, but I will look at. People are so, people are not used that behind the spammer there is a human that care about them. So again, the question is not the kind of action you will do, and it's not a question of reducing the intensity you will put in your startup. It's about understanding that sometimes you don't understand others, and you think it brings value for them, but it don't. And if it doesn't bring value to them, you should just apologize and take care of. It's very important to reply to everyone. And when I say everyone, I mean everyone. And it's hard, like it's so hard to scale. For example, like one of the sad days in my life is the day that I decided to bankrupt my bank account, my email account. So I did a chapter 11 on my email account. Now I delete randomly emails and I see what happens. But I was very proud to reply to every single email I was receiving until 6 months ago. And 6 months ago, I was spending 18 hours a day replying email. So I decided that it was way bit too much. And I decided to have another way of doing that, is that I reply randomly. So it's a great thing because a lot of people get what they expect, no reply. But some people got in 5 minutes to reply and they talk about it to everyone. Like, wow, he replied in 5 minutes. So it's kind of a good trick. The Zappos guy is doing that. But until the day you are in physically impossibility of replying to everyone is always far. For us, there have been 2 years of history. So until that day, you should reply to everyone and you should be very conscious about that and you should be really caring about that. Never, you want a very good care attitude, never ask a user to do something you can do yourself. For example, sometimes I receive spam that I don't like. So I reply, hi sir, thank you for your message. Please can you unsubscribe me? And when people reply, there is a link to unsubscribe, I got mad. Like I can get crazy because it's not my job to unsubscribe for a list you put me yourself in. You see, that's the care attitude. The care attitude is not to don't send the email. The care attitude is, I send the email, you don't want about it, I will unsubscribe you myself. And it's very important that you have this kind of discipline and you understand that everyone deserves a reply, even internet trolls. So, that's one thing that is so good about the internet, is that as soon as you are successful, or even not successful, by the way, but as soon as you have like a few traction, you will have haters. So haters are fascinating. Like, I don't know if you look at comments on YouTube, but for example, I start to be a kind of no user on YouTube. So there is these crazy people that come and comment, and it's so funny. Like, I don't know what happened in the life of these people. Like, what happened to a point where they can go and yell at someone they don't know, and they did not even read the stories or the video, and they just yell because they like to yell and they like to troll. There is even secret community of trollers over the internet. I don't know if you know that, but there is forum where you troll to become a master troller, and they screenshot the best troll they have and they show to everyone and they get points and if you want to get in you need to troll someone very high level. And you have all the crazy people, because that's what is amazing about internet, is that internet doesn't discriminate anyone, especially the crazy ones. So the crazy ones, like for example, if you type my name on Google, there is something very funny to do, is to go on page 10 or 12 and you will see a picture of me with Obama together, and a text explaining that Obama and I we are member of a secret society to take control of France. And actually, we are aliens from the Zeta planet. And we are here to control the world. And I wish it's true. Like I would love to be friends with Obama and take control of all of you. But it's not. But they really believe it. There is a bunch of 10 people talking together. And they take picture of me in the street. And sometimes they come to event. Maybe there's one of you here now. And I say hi. So it's so funny because on the internet, you will always have people. One example of one message that I can send, like it's in French, but that's an email we send to everyone when we launch Coup d'Etat, and we sent it to 6,000 people, and we received 3 unsubscribe. 3 people asked us to unsubscribe, and we had more than 200 conversations with people that bring to a lot of things. So you see, like you have a lot of upside of doing that. Because it will be better if you ignore the downside, and especially the trollers and the crazy. And anyways, the crazy, like, it's not their fault. So, like, you should be just replying very honestly. And so, yeah, sorry. It is not a list. It's an export of my LinkedIn. I deleted the connection, and sorry for that. So you see, like, you just need a simple email and you apologize, and no one really cares when you apologize. So the second part after acquisition of caring is that it's good to care to get someone new, but it's even better to care to keep someone. So retention is as important and as acquisition inside your startup. So we already said that, but I will insist on that because, you know, first key of pedagogy is repeating. Someone told me that. You don't imagine how much emails are your friends. Like, emails is this incredible tool that is surviving every revolution of internet that everyone wants to kill, by the way, and no one succeeds at. Because emails is a simple way to be in touch with everyone, and your emails should be everywhere in a very easy spot. For example, one story I love to tell people is that at the beginning, when you go on the website of the family, you had an email called apply@thefamily.co. And we replaced that email by welcome@thefamily.co. And welcome@thefamily.co multiplies the number of emails by 2 because it sounds more welcoming than apply@thefamily.co. That sounds like, yeah, you want to apply, there is a filter. You need to look close, you need to look care. And one of the rules, by the way, is that you should try with your customer to never refer to someone else. And I know it can look weird, and I know that like sometimes it's way too hard to do, but it's very important that you install that example that if someone can take care of something, he should take care of himself, and don't put people in a process of waiting. And that comes down to the idea that everyone should be in the customer support, that everyone should fixing problem, and it comes down to this culture as a company that you want to reach, where everyone in your team feel that fixing problem is the principal job. And it prevents from a culture that, you know, look like department against department. You know, sometimes we have office hours with companies and we ask why that failed or that failed. And they are like, oh yeah, the engineering team did not do the job well. I don't know why engineers today tech so much. Or the design team is not doing well, or blah, blah, blah. That's the wrong answer. Like, the only answer is we screwed up as a team and we will solve that. That's the only good answer people can do. And you don't imagine how much losers are always finding excuse to everything they do. And they are always trying to find someone who is guilty of that. And you should not. And that comes down also from founders showing employees that they fix problems that it should not be fixed by themselves. And fixing problems is a culture that everyone should have. You know, it's one of the things we see with employees at the family. You know, bad employees at the family complain that someone left a bottle of water in the meeting room. So you are a bad employee, you see a bottle of water, and instead of cleaning the table, you will go and say, people don't clean after they had a meeting. And good people that are in the spirit take the bottle, put it in the trash, and that's it. Because they fix problem themselves and they don't do a big deal about that. It really shows you small things. It's exactly the same that when you're with friends in holiday, you know, and you have these people that are so rigid about everything that they make life of everyone complicated. And you have the people that are very rigid, so they just put everyone at their level. So that's a two-way of doing things. Do you feel concerned? like the guy is like, yeah. You have thousands of tools out there to scale customer support, and you should take care of them. You should learn to use them, and you should integrate them as soon as possible in your process, and especially every transaction tools that make you giving the feeling that you are close to your customers. For example, there is a tool we love. It's called Intercom. I don't know if you know Intercom, but Intercom helps you build automatic emails depending on a certain kind of action on your website. For example, if someone did not visit the website for 7 days, he will receive an automatic email saying, I miss you. If someone watched every video on coup d'etat, he will receive an email, which video should we do and we did not record. And you know, like, it's so funny to look at the customer support on coup d'etat, for example, because all these automatic emails, students think that they are emails that have been really sent by someone. And like, of course, I always find that amazing because I'm like, do they really think we pay someone to go one after one to send an email to 20,000 people saying, how do you feel? But because there is a human replying to it, they have the feeling that they have been sent. So there is thousands of ways to scale cares, and there is thousands of tools to make it look better. One of my best stories about that is that, for example, one of the things Intercom help you to do is that you can track how many social followers a client of yours have. And you can say, if someone has more than 5,000 followers, give me his phone number and I will call him. And you can become very, very smart about who you will care with, because it can help you having an image and an impact on people that are trendsetter, transporter, because you can be able to detect them inside your tools. So you have thousands of ways to scale care. It's not easy. It's a very high cost, and it should be a very high cost. Like, so many times, you know, people fundraise, and in the fundraise, they say, that's my budget for engineering, that's my budget for marketing, that's my budget for, I don't know, servers, employees, administration, accounting, when they are very detailed. And I never see the budget for customer support. And it's always a discussion, like, how do you set up that? How much you will spend? Why you will spend that? How you will spend it? And people are always surprised because we have this feeling that customer support is not important. But in a company that wants to care, customer support is at heart of every function and should scale in same time than everything. One of the way at beginning to care with clients that are already clients is to give your personal phone number. I think the craziest story is Dropbox. Drew Houston put his personal phone number on the website of Dropbox until reaching 1 million users. Until reaching 1 million user milestone, Drew Houston's personal phone was on the website. And at the down of every signature of every email he sent. Do you imagine that? You know, we have entrepreneurs that tell us, I cannot put my numbers, people will call me all day long, and you're like, no one is going on your website, so you should be happy that anyone call you. So don't get it wrong, it's part of your job. Like, I think he was spending a lot of time replying to phone. And I'm sure that he gave so many times the phone to someone else and someone else reply. That's not what it matters. What it matters is that if something was critical and if something was urgent, you had someone to call and that was high enough in hierarchy to solve and fix your problem. And you don't imagine how many people get their problem fixed by Drew Houston himself. Because the problem is that the clients are international and so many people was calling during night. And you will wake up and take care of their problem. Oh, you delete your file, no problem. I will access the server and put it. Like, you imagine the level of commitment? That's what makes entrepreneurs great, is when they do things that looks impossible. Like, you are not a great entrepreneur when you do things that seems reasonable or normal or nice. You are a great entrepreneur when you do things that surprise everyone and no one can believe that they are true. Of course, check your image on social network all day long. Don't give that to a community manager. You should be your own community manager. And the day you have a community manager, you should have someone that is really at level. So we have one company at the family that is above every single company on that lesson, and it's Capitaine Train. So I don't know if some of you know Capitaine Train. Who knows Capitaine Train? Just for, okay, it works well, at least in our community. Who use Capitaine Train for, okay, everyone else out. Go. No, I'm kidding. But really, you should switch. Just to make me happy, at first reason, and everyone at Capitaine Train. No, but kidding. Like, Capitaine Train customer support is done by the smartest people working at Capitaine Train. Like, in Capitaine Train hierarchy, being at customer support is being in the heart of the company, and you work directly with the CEO, and the CEO of Capitaine Train overlook at the support himself, much more than the engineers. And I can tell you it's a company where being an engineer is very important. So I let imagine you. And there is a story that here is very famous, is at the time when Com was taking my train tickets. And one day we had an issue. We had an issue on a ticket that have been bought on another website. So a situation where Capitaine Train should tell you, fuck yourself, and you should have used us, and it would have been better. And they solved the problem. And they solved it in a way that was crazy, because they gave us a tip to get reimbursed by Voyage SNCF, even if our claim was weak. And they really fight for that. So the story is that I did not wake up to take the train. So I slept over. And I called Com and tell him, can you change the ticket? And he tried to call the phone server, and the phone server was so slow on Voyage SNCF that it took longer to process the query for changing the ticket than the time where the ticket was due. And what happened is that Capitaine Train said, you call at 8:55, we can prove it on the vocal server. So you should ask the claim on that basis, because it's not your responsibility that it takes 20 minutes to change your ticket. It's their problem. And you did it right because you did it 5 minutes before the train left. So it's more than fine. And we get reimbursed of the train ticket. So you live that once in your life, you're kind of customer forever. And if you go and watch the Facebook page of Capitaine Train, it's so funny. Like, they play so much with their user. I think people are like, oh yeah, a new post, I can put a comment, and I can put... I think trollers love that page because they always reply hard to trollers, and they are not scared to reply hard to stupid customers. And this is why they have this feeling of authenticity that is unique. And every company in the family try to be at the level of Capitaine Train. No one is. I will tell you very honestly, they have the first price in Europe from far. But at least it shows a model of how much you can scale. And by the way, Capitaine Train now is millions of users. So they scale that at a level where the customer support is replying to millions of users. And you don't imagine how many times I write during night to customer support, and it's the customer support is closed, and you receive the automatic email telling you that the customer support is closed, and 5 minutes after you have a guy that say, "Oh, I was wake up and I will fix your issue, no worry," because they are so committed in their job that they work out of the time frame and they kind of work all the time long because they feel that Capitaine Train is very important. So one of the other way to create care and relationship with people is events. So how to do events? You don't imagine how many startups that you know that are successful did not launch the way you think they launch. Like, for example, if I ask you about Pinterest and you don't know the story, I'm sure you will think that Pinterest worked very hard to build a product, give the product to their girlfriend and little sister, and it become viral. But the truth is that Pinterest launched with offline meetups of pinning things. It's true. It's a true story. Like that guy had the idea to say, "Oh yeah, let's bring a bunch of people together that will bring picture and we will pin it and it will do a pin board and we will drink." Why? And it became Pinterest. So why? Because that was a way to create proximity with users, understand what they want in a very informal way. And everyone likes you know, to listen to good content, to get a free drink or free food. And you know, like there's so many people that will not refuse a free food. For example, at the family, it's the meetups. Like you see how many people come at our meetups? Like it's crazy how much events are at heart of what we do at the family, much more than anyone can understand. And this is why it's important. It's important that people understand you, they understand who you are, they understand how you feel about the world, and they will have a sense of proximity that will be much higher than in any other circumstance. And events are a great way to discover who your users are. And it's a great way to adapt what you are doing in real time. Because offline communication is never as good as informal discussion with users, and especially if they come at events and are interested by what you are doing. So you need to help people connect together. You need to help people get value from that event much more, and that will help you to get real feedback out of the traditional kind of feedback that you will take, talking to user one by one. So one of the funny things with crowd is that people feel much more comfortable of saying hard things together than saying hard things in one-to-one. And because we are weak and social animal, and if you ask someone for feedback in one-to-one, he will tell you things that look nice. If you ask feedback in group, you will always have a, alpha player that will try to show that he can kill you faster than everyone. And that's good. You are looking for that. You are looking for that kind of moment where you can have authenticity. And by the way, a good event is prepared. Don't leave anything to chance. You should take that seriously. I hate when I go to startup meetups and there is this random pizza with random drink and people doesn't really know when it will start and what people will talk about and how it will be. That's horrible. That's not how a good event is. A good event is something with an agenda that starts on time, where everything feels right and people are happy to be here. Like that's a good event. Like it's not just about bringing people together. Don't send anyone else to event than your core team and yourself. Be present even if you don't speak on stage. Do the introduction, do the conclusion. Show that you are here and you care. The last level of care, and I think is one of the most important one, is the team care that you put that will reflect on everyone else. So if you understand that caring is very important and it's strategic in your startup, you will understand that it's something that everyone inside your team understands. And one of the best ways to communicate something is to show people how it works internally. So with your team, you need to execute because that's the way you will earn their respect. If you tell someone what to do, it will not do it well. If you tell someone, if you show someone how you do, it can even do better than you. And that will be a good process. Because even if you are not doing it right, at least showing by example, managing by example, leading by example, will put people in a very positive situation. You need to make everyone understand inside your company that the only thing that exists is results. Results are the thing that should drive, and everything should be a KPI, and there should not be any debate about the feeling and personal feeling. Caring is not about making people feel better when they fail. When they fail inside your team, it's hard, you should say it, and that's it. And you should do something else. You should love together your users. Recently, I was visiting a startup, and it's a food startup. And I was talking with an employee, and I asked him if he likes to eat. And he told me no. And I told him why he was working here. Why? Why on earth you will go in some place you don't like? Why on earth you will be in one position where you cannot feel connected to the users and it doesn't seem important for you? Like, there is thousands of opportunity out there. You should do things that you like. I'm not saying that everyone should like to eat. I'm saying if you are doing a food startup, it's better to like to eat. So loving your user is a collective responsibility, and it will not happen if you don't show the example to your team, and it will not happen if you accept that anyone in your team is not in that attitude. You should never accept anyone that is harsh or not understand the kind of feeling necessary to bring team to the right level. So failure are not so important, is what I was telling you. You need to understand that if you put people taking risk in a situation where they need to take risk, it's fine that they fail. It doesn't mean that you will not give them the feedback. It doesn't mean that you will not tell them that they failed, but at least they will have tried. And all of that become what one day you will call your culture. Caring about your user and your internal culture have a very, very organic relationship. It's not about your team and your user. Your team should be the users. I see too many companies where the team members are not users of the product they are selling. Does it feel wrong to you? It feels horrible for me. I don't get that. I don't get how people can be so cynical that they think it's not good for me, it's good for the others. If you have a single employee that is not a deep user of what you are doing, you are in a big trouble. And if you are in this kind of trouble, like, for example, imagine that Agricool that produce strawberries hires someone that don't like strawberry. Like, that should be the first question. Because a startup is something that is so emotional that everyone inside the startup should be linked by an invisible bond that is a homogeneity of culture. And that culture, one day, can become obvious. So, for example, that's the onboarding trilo at the family. So when you become an employee, you can see the rules, what you should read, what coup d'etat, how the company is organized, which tool we are using. So you see, you should care for the people. If you care for the people, they will care for your user. It's a very organic relationship. No company with, like, you want an example of that? Go in a restaurant and evaluate the service. And if the service is good, I can tell you the management is good. If the service is bad, I can tell you the management is bad. Because how much a boss will stress out the waiter will stress out the customer. It's very basic, and it can be applied to any startup. If there is a good relationship between the management and the team, there will be a good relationship between the team and the users. Because all of that is one single cycle. So a lot of people have trouble to do that. because they are in situation where they have some personal qualities that seems to go against the kind of quality you need to achieve that kind of level of care. The first one is for everyone that feels shy. You know, like, it's a feedback we have all the time long from good entrepreneurs. They tell us, oh, I will wish to be more careful, but I cannot because I'm shy. So our point of advice is to say that there is not a right way to do it. What matters is the final result. So if you are shy, do everything by email and never meet anyone. And it will be better to be by email only and be like totally in the care and a good mood than going in social situation and look awkward because you have the feeling that's the way of doing things. So, and it apply to everything, like about should my culture should be modest, humble, or should I grab and be like, pretend that I'm the best? Again, that's a strategic choice. But whatever the strategic choice you will do, the only thing that matters is that it looks like the kind of people you want to be recognized as. You need to be very coherent in what you do, and you will, at the end, just care. Because caring is not a methodology, caring is a mindset. You will be caring about your user, employee, shareholders, and everyone, always in a way that reflects what you want to be as a company. And there is not such a thing as a good or bad company. There is company that care and company that don't care. And every company that don't care, at the end, die because it's way too hard to do a big startup without the kind of commitment you need in the care and without the kind of intensity that you need to put inside the process to achieve that kind of level. Thank you very much.
First of all, thank you for the talk, because I work in retail, so I feel really touched by care and client process. How do you put the caring into the firing process? When you have to fire someone, how do you build the care into that? Because it's the hardest and the worst part.
Yeah. So it's horrible. It never works. And to be honest, like, there is not a right way to do that. You just need to do it. And sometimes you try to do good, and people don't understand, and it's their fault. Like, let's be honest. Like, you are in the startups. It's not like, you know, most employees in startups lose their job not because they are fired, because the startup die. So in first place, you know, you are not in the same kind of situation than traditional job. And if you are with people that don't get it and get mad, that's it. Just cut and next. You know, just put yourself in a position where it doesn't matter and move on, because you have no other way to do it. And you know, like, we are in a country where people, like, a lot of people think outside. Yesterday I was having a dinner with a very famous entrepreneur that has a very big company, and she had recently a social investigation. Okay? Inspection du travail. And she got a fine because of posters like this one. So she has posters all over the place that ask people to work harder. And it's illegal in France to encourage people to work harder because it seems as mental manipulation. Okay, so that's the kind of country we live in. Like, it's fine. Like, she paid the fine and she move on. Like, she can be in a situation where she will cry all day long saying, France suck up, it's bad, blah, blah, blah. But that's the way. Like, it's the way that it works, and you cannot do anything about that. So just do it.
When you receive a bad comment on social networks such as Facebook, do you advise that we should reply on the social network? I mean, in public or in private?
You should reply in public. You should, like, by the way, being in the care doesn't mean that you should let jerk saying bad things that are not true. Like, that's not care, that's stupid. Like being in the care is, by the way, putting the truth. Like if you look, for example, our Facebook or comments or blah blah, you will see myself replying harsh to a lot of people, and that's a care attitude because it's a respect for every users that are fine and nice. So you will not let, if someone come here and start to yell at me and grab and throwing things at me, we will bring him out and that's it. And we will do it in an energetic way because it's respectful for the people that are listening to the conference. So you see, the problem is that behind care, people have this kind of misillusion that being care means being nice with everyone. And now, if you say bad things that are true, you should say it. You should just say, that's true, I'm sorry, we are working on that. And that's how it should work most of the time.
In the letter that you send for the first time to all these 6,000 future customers of Coup d'Etat, it seems a bit long for what I learned. Is it the right way, or do you think? Always told me that you should really be more shorter and whatever.
That's funny because it's a complicated story. More an email is long, more the conversion rate is high, and more an email is long, and less the probability that it will be read is high. So you see the kind of double tension you have. So some people are good at long email, and it's a question of copywriting. It's a question of how you present message, and does people like to read you or not. Sometimes we do long email, sometimes we do short email, but we are kind of very good at copywriting, and there is only one way to be good at copywriting is to write a lot of things. That's the way you start to learn how your user react. For example, that email have been sent to very intellectual people, and intellectual people love to read long things, and so it worked pretty well. Sometimes we send that to users that are less intellectual, and we send shorter emails. So watch which kind of email you receive. You will see which one, how you have been targeted. I'm kidding. Half kidding. So like there is not the rule like long, short, big, small, blah, blah, blah. It's always a question of context, and that's why it's complicated. But the only way you can establish a relationship with your users is to do it every day. That's the only way. Think again about riding a bike. If I ask you how you ride a bike, it will be funny. I should take 3 people, put them on stage, and explain to people how they ride a bike. It will be horrible. Like some people will be very rational. Some people will be like, I don't know, I feel the bike. But the truth is that riding a bike asks things in your mind that are very subconscious. And we don't, as an entrepreneur, we always try to use our conscious level and not so much our subconscious level. But doing something every day develops skills that you cannot talk about. And that's an example is copywriting. If you copyright every day, you become good and you cannot explain why you are good. You know, for example, I did so many landing pages in my life, but I can watch any landing page and tell you if you will convert or not. And I think I'm 80% right. And why? Because I saw so many landing pages, I cannot, like, I know that which color will click or not click, and it's weird because after, you know, it creates a kind of artist complex where some people play on that, you know, they come and say like, no, take the red out, no red. And it's just that their training is so intense that they know things that they cannot explain. And it works well. Like so many companies at the family, we change their conversion rate just in 1 office hour. And because we are good at that. But there is things we are weak at because we don't do it. So you should, like, I know everyone is trying to find the magical methodology, but everyone should just work harder. So it's so deceptive. Sorry.
Yeah. About social media, to communicate and that, do you use do you create a kind of corporate account, or do you use your personal account as a CEO or partner to communicate and comment on certain things?
Both, and you should not communicate the same thing on the same account. So I know we have entrepreneurs, for example, that create a personal professional account. So it's you know, it will be something like their name, and as the last name they will put their company name, because they will keep their personal account separate. So that is wrong. That doesn't seem right in our time, because it's a separation between your private life and professional life. And if there is something on user wants authenticity, it's that. Is that people doesn't want any distance between professional and personal. So about the kind of thing you need to do on social media, I think you should have a page that is about the company, and you have a personal one, and you will not communicate with the same tone and the same voice on both. And you need to be subtle about what will be an official communication, what will be you as a primary user of your company.
What about, you didn't talk about the auto-replies.
Yeah, what is auto-replies?
So if I send an email to info@acme.com,
yeah,
do you send, and thank you for your message, we'll come back to you very soon, or?
I don't like auto-reply. I think you should reply in 1 hour with a real answer. No email should take more than 1 hour or half a day or a day, depending on the size of your startup. But you should be very, very reactive at beginning. So you need an auto-reply to tell someone that, don't worry, it will come one day. But that's not a care attitude. You should send back a real reply as a real human.
For example, the family, when you apply to the family,
yeah, I know. We reach a level where we don't care anymore. I'm not, pay attention, I'm not telling you it's possible to keep that forever. I'm just telling you it's an unfair at beginning. If you had applied to the family the first year, you will get a reply from me in less than 1 hour. And if you had applied to the family the second year, you will get a reply from Balthazar. And if you apply now to the family, good luck. Like, just to get someone, a human, to talk is hard. But because we cannot do any way differently. And you know, it doesn't mean that it doesn't piss off us. Like, for example, one of the job offer now at the family is that we are trying to find a gatekeeper, like if interests someone, by the way. We want someone that spend all day long just replying to emails. You understand why we don't find anyone. Like, it's the most horrible job description ever. So what's your job? Replying emails. So, but of course, we want to go back to that. But you have to, like, sometimes you have to accept that you will decrease the level of care because you will care about your user and not new client. And that's depend on your strategy and moment and blah, blah. But what you should not be is to be comfortable with the fact that is that. We are not comfortable with the fact that when you apply to the family, it's hard to get an answer. But we have no choice, so we live with it.
Hello.
Yeah.
Do you have a management tip between when to care and when to focus? So
yeah, that's a good question. I don't have a tip. I think again it comes down to your growth and your KPI, and it should come down to what is your very short-term objective. So if you take the example of Apply Email, we have enough startups. Our focus right now is to help the startup we already have to make them big success. And so we are much more on internal than external. And that will be for maybe the next 9 months. And after we will open back. And at one moment we will be as much external as internal, and we will be happy forever. I don't know if we will reach that one day. So there is not a management tip like criteria you can use. And by the way, that's when you earn your equity as founder. You know, the job of the founder, and this is why you get so much equity as a founder, is that you should be the person that take that kind of decision and be courageous about this kind of decision. And if you are wrong, you change it fast and you learn. But you need to enter in the process of learning about that.
You didn't talk that much about calling customers. So what calling
customer with phone?
Yeah.
Are you jet lag? No.
What do you
Kidding.
think about
Apply everything I say over the phone. It's just I hate fun. I hate like if you want to know if someone knows me or not, when he doesn't know me, he call me. Like it's a very good. If someone tell you I'm friend with OUSSAMA, I will call him. You can know he's a liar. Because I don't like. I even asked Apple if it was possible to deactivate phone on iPhone, but it's not. So I need. But everything I said, it works exactly the same on the phone. It's just that it's a word I don't understand. But yes, like phone has some constraint. It's real time. You cannot asynchronize. It's harder to scale. This is why I think for startup emails are much better tool than phone. But for example, we have our phone champion in the room there, Trusk. You can go on trusk.com and call them. It will be funny. All of you, let's see. Let's do a stress test. But Trusk do everything over phone. Like I will never be a client of Trusk because of that. Like I hate, like you know Uber, for example. I hate when they call you. I know where they are on the map. I love the idea that I don't need to talk to a human and the car come. But sometimes driver call and say, hey, hi, I will be here in 5 minutes. Yeah, I know it's on the app. I don't say that, I think that. I say, oh, cool, thank you. because I'm weak. But in my mind, I'm like, fuck you, motherfucker, I have a fucking app. So yeah, but it's the same. It's the same. And you know, give me an idea. One of the most successful startups in the Silicon Valley right now, it's an API for handwritten mail. So you send your message to that API, and someone with a nice scripting, writing, do a thing and send it on your behalf. And it's huge phenomena. Like Slack is doing that. So we receive an handwritten message from Slack. And everyone in the team was like, oh my God, you see, the Slack team sent us a handwritten message. And actually they use the API like everyone in the valley. So it show you like how you can trick the care. How you can trick the care.
Do you ever use pre-written emails or FAQ?
Yeah, you should do that.
Are you really authentic?
No,
100%?
I don't because I'm lazy. But you should do that. Like it's like for example, someone so good in our team was Jean de la Roche-Brochard. Like that guy has so many pre-writing emails. He's so efficient. Like that guy is a killer. I'm not. Like I reply, and this is why my answers are so short. Okay, no, maybe. So yeah, no, but you should do that for sure.
And what tool would you use to do this?
There is like depends. Like the problem is that there is so many tools out there that it's hard to give suggestion. For example, I like A-Text. It's a tool where you can, because I'm old-fashioned and I like keyboard shortcut. So I use for example, the only place where I use pre-written emails is when we talk with our lawyers. And there is like, I have automatic emails to tell them to do things. So I write a shortcut and it creates emails because we have, we have so many times the same legal process. Like we need to close the fundraising. We need to get that document. And they always same email. And lawyers don't take well when you write informally. I don't know why. So I learned that the hard way. So now I send them nice email and they, oh, thank you for your email. I say, yeah, thank you. So, so yeah, but for sure you should do whatever you can do that will save you time and make you more efficient is a good practice to do. Question? A last question, just to go well together.
Yeah, I got one if you want. It's not really about startups, but about the big companies. Do you think the care is a huge leverage for them to kill the startups or competitors or something? Like the SNCF that just can kill Captain Train with care.
I'm way too expensive as a consultant to give any tips to a big company for free. No, I can give it because they don't know how to do it, of course. Like if big companies was able to set up real customer care, they will be able to kill a lot of startups. But the truth is that it's so much out of the DNA that it's like asking someone, someone from the conservative Tea Party to do rap. It will look so horrible. And it will be like, you know, I think we underestimate how much humans at that top level have an impact on the whole organization. And that even with all the money of the world, you cannot buy a soul. You cannot buy authenticity. You cannot buy the things that make all this company great.
But at the same time, at the bottom of these big firms are people that want to change.
Bullshit. Bullshit. Sorry for everyone working in big companies. If you are working in big companies and you are bottom and you tell yourself you want to change something, you are a liar. You know why? Because when you want to change things, it's so hard in your heart that you cannot stay inside an organization and you are just telling yourself that you want to change things. But you are so happy to get your salary. You are so happy to be in a serious organization. You are so happy of the brand and you are so happy of the protection. And you can tell whatever you want to yourself. It will never come down to the fact that you choose to be there.
So that suppose that now within, I don't know, 10 or 20 years, all big companies of the CAC 40, for example, that just be dead?
Yeah, I think so. Oh, for sure.
There's no chance.
Yeah, because I think, like, you know our theory on that. Like, so if you want to speak about that, we think that every big companies will die in the next 50 years. Yeah, for sure. Like, there is no chance they survive, and you know why? Because the only thing that will survive will be new company created by them. So as financial institution, they can survive, but as social organization, they will not. So they will maybe transform themselves, they will buy startups, blah, blah, blah. Like the brand may survive, but it will not be the same company. And the company that you have today in place will die. Because like we met every top CEO in Europe, basically, and they are all weak, lost, and totally unaware of what's happening outside because they are disconnected. Like look at about, for example, Air France is a good example of a management team. I don't know if anyone works at Air France here. I think so. Sorry for what I will say. But if you look at what happened with Air France is that Air France totally lost its relationship with users because they become a luxury company that cannot compete with any luxury company like Qatar or Emirate or blah, blah. Why? Because every top manager at Air France never fly in couch. You want to be a great CEO of a company like that? Don't travel first class. Travel couch. Do all your travel in couch, and couch experience will change, for sure. Because if the CEO went in the couch experience, and it will be like, it's impossible. Like, why is so bad food? Why is blah? And everything will change. But that's not what happened. What happened is that they take flight in first class, and that's true also for employees. Like how employees that work in this company travel. They travel in business class because they have the ticket for free. And they have multiple tickets for free for a year. If you want to do a serious airline company, you should force people to travel economy. For example, when Facebook launched a mobile version, it cut desktop version of Facebook all over the office to force every employee to do everything on mobile. And so mobile experience improved very fast because people were so frustrated to don't have access to Facebook anymore at home or at office. You need to do this kind of crazy thing. But this kind of crazy thing don't happen in big organizations because they don't care. And they don't need to care. And they don't need to care until the time it's too late. And when it's too late, it's too late. That's it. Sorry. Question? No. When I talk about big organization, I talk about traditional big organization. Yeah. And maybe Amazon will die too. Like, yeah, they have that, but they have other problems. So, I mean, one of the things that is so great about the economy we are entering in is that no one can survive forever, and that is done. Like, that's something new, but it's so beautiful. Look at Facebook dying. Look at Google dying. It's possible. Yeah, please.
Just to keep going on that thing, if you take banks, for example, that's the worst ever.
You see what happens when you don't ask questions? We have this kind of question.
Sorry. No, but banks, for example, they're the worst ever, and the barrier to entry, it's pretty high with the regulations. So if they just start to care and just really start to care, just there's no place for anyone.
But again, It's not like caring is a decision you can take when you don't have the culture. It's not an asset. It's not something artificial. And I know why you don't understand that. You don't understand that because you don't know what it means. And that's what happened with everyone that don't have the intensity of care. Like, I see that all day long with big corporations. It's like they come here and they say, oh, you know what? We will do an innovation spot. And to do an innovation spot, we will buy IKEA furniture and people will be in short. And because they don't get it, and they cannot get it because it's biological. You cannot ask someone that never had sex in his life to tell someone how to have sex for the first time. Same thing. Like, you cannot ask someone that never did something like that in his life at 55 years old or 60 years old, white male, to reinvent themselves. Like, these people live in a world where nothing of your reality exists. And no one of the reality of this room. Like, for example, you can go in a big top executive committee and tell them, like 1 year ago, do you hear about Uber? They will say no. And you explain Uber, and they will say, yeah, it's like my subscription at GSET, the same thing. And you're like, no, motherfucker, your subscription at GSET is 7,000 a year. Like, people can have better service than you for free. Yeah, it will not be the same service because it's denial. Like, you cannot understand how much being in a very small inner circle change your perception. So after, when outside becomes so heated, you come and say words. So you write speech, and you go. You want an example? This year, the word in CAC 40 was collaboration. Every CEO this year come and see their employees and say, my top priority is that we become a collaborative company. Okay, which company changed the way people are paid? In every big company in France, people are paid depending on their own performance and the performance of the team. And every business unit have a separate P&L. And you have the top CEO that say, we should collaborate. And everyone down is like, yeah, let's collaborate, but not too much. Okay? You will not cost my yearly bonus. So that's the reality. The reality is that if they are serious about that, they will come and say, okay, we made a mistake. No one should be paid in separate P&L. Let's switch to unique P&L and let's collaborate. That will be a shock. But no one did that because they cannot do that. They are so used to the way they do things. No question? I don't want to end on big corporation, please. Like, I feel dirty.